Hey, my name is Dustin, and today on the barrel, WAGON Malted Straight Rye Whiskey. All right, so WAGON is coming to us from Las Vegas, Nevada, and they are an independent bottler. If you don't know what that means, that just means that they're a company that will source whiskey from other distilleries. In this case, from one of the largest sourced from distilleries in the US, MGP, or Midwest Grain Product, based out of Indiana. Basically what that means is they'll have contracts with distilleries to say, hey, we want you to distill this type of mash bill for us. We're gonna take it and we're gonna age it in a way that we want, or in a barrel that we want, or blend it how we want, and make our own product with it, basically. And some distilleries are really transparent about that. Some distilleries aren't so transparent about that in their labeling and in the information they provide to the consumer. But generally, everybody's pretty open about that, or you could find out if you asked. So let's take a look at the bottle. This is a really beautiful bottle. WAGON, they have all of their whiskeys, I believe, have this like really cool embossed glass that shows, in this case, some leaves. It's probably rye. I don't know. But I don't know if you can see that. I think I have focus locked on me, so my bad. Anyways, and then some cool green and gold labeling, and then their signature wax circle there in the middle. Really awesome bottle. And then on the front here, we've got WAGON Malted Straight Rye, Las Vegas, 57.15% alcohol. And then on the back, we've got the date bottled, which in this case is October 21st of 2023. And then this is batch number 14, which seems, I don't know, kind of low for a company that never sleeps. And then moving on to the label on the back here, we've just got distilled from a mash bill of 51% rye and 49% malted barley, which excites me because I love malted barley. This has the minimum amount of rye, 51%, that you need to be able to call it a rye. Some people will throw in, X% of bourbon, X% of malted barley. Or you can have a bourbon that's a high rye, so it'll still be 51% bourbon, and then 49% rye, and then sometimes you'll have a barley mash that's single. Well, then sometimes they mix them together with different percents. I think the rest of the label is just sort of like what to expect for tasting notes and such, which I appreciate having that on there, but I always like to just kind of jump in myself and see what's going on there. H&C Distilling Company, aged and bottled by. Oh, that's another thing I should mention. One thing you want to look at if you're shopping for whiskey in the stores, or at least I tend to pay attention to, is if I see a bottle that I've never seen before, or a distillery that I've never heard of before, I'll usually immediately look at the labeling just to see if it says distilled by, because that will indicate that that distillery actually distilled the spirit in the bottle, versus this one, for instance, saying aged and bottled by, or some will say produced by. So just some different wordings that distilleries will use, which again is fine. If I'm gonna buy something, I just want to know, like, did you guys make this yourself, or did you source from somewhere else and then turn it into something that you wanted? Let's try it. Okay? Hey, before I do that, could you just pop on down and subscribe to this channel if you haven't already? If you want to. You don't have to. But if you want to. It's free, and you can see my videos pop up in your feed on a regular basis. And give it a like if you enjoyed it. Leave a comment below if you've had this whiskey before, or if you're interested in whiskeys like it or want to know something more, let me know. Really helps the channel grow as we're just starting here. Viva! Viva Las Vegas. Pour a little bit here. See how this guy smells. I'm not gonna cheers to the smell this time like I did last time. We'll wait until the proper time to cheers. Oh, that's like honey and like herbs right away. Like dill is in there. Not so heavily dill. I've had some ryes that are almost too heavy on the dill. A little bit of like creaminess coming from, I assume, that high barley content. And then there's a cool mint sensation on the nose. It doesn't necessarily smell like green mint, but it just has that feel. That's a nice nose. I could smell this one for a while, but I won't. All right, cheers. Yeah, that's a good winter rye. Sweet honey comes through on the palate, and then you get a good sort of a granola or oat right behind that. Some baking spices. It sort of reminds me of like a traditional Christmas cake. I don't get a ton of like dried like dark stone fruit type flavors necessarily, but there's sort of like there's definitely a ginger. This just kind of tastes like Christmas to me. There's not so much allspice or clove. Again, if I just like sliced off a piece of like that dark Christmas cake with just like a baked, you know, oat bready baking spices or something. I'm usually like a darker rye guy when it comes to winter time. So like I'll usually go for especially like a port finished rye or a sherry finished rye or something like that. But this is really good. Yeah, nice job, Smoke Wagon. I'm glad that this is going to be hopefully available regularly with the rest of their lineup. I'm more of a fan, I think, of the rye than I am their bourbon. In fact, I've got one of their fun sort of releases. Oh, here it is. They always do a fun, like, I think they do Christmas and Halloween maybe for some of their bottles, but they do a themed label for those times of year. And this is just their, I believe this is just their regular straight bourbon whiskey. They also do an uncut bourbon, which I think is just a higher proof, and then maybe like a single barrel release or something like that. But this is on the cheaper end. I think this bottle is like 35 bucks. This malted straight rye was, I think, $75 to $80. So not necessarily cheap, especially around the holidays. This is a really nice one to have. Sometimes if a whiskey doesn't quite have enough to it, it'll just kind of start to fall flat a little bit on the palate. But that is holding true, baby. That's nice. I don't know that I would go for this in the summertime, but man, it really hits home for drinking it around this time of year, especially when it's this friggin' cold outside. I'm in Minnesota and it's, I don't know, it's like 6 degrees now. So warm you right up. Thanks for joining me once again. Tune in next time when I taste some sort of other thing that you'll watch, maybe. All right.